Broke girls are crying because they can't afford food or rent.
That because you asked me on a date and you're asking me to split the bill with you. It's a respect thing.
I just don't know you that well.
Broke girls are crying because they can't afford food or rent. Why are broke girls now suddenly crying because they can't afford food or rent after living off the SIP economy for so long? It's really becoming very interesting as inflation gets worse and their pockets, are just running out of money. Watch until the end of the video to find out why broke girls are crying because they can't afford food or rent and what the implications are for society. Because don't forget that come 2030, 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be childless and single. So watch until the end to find out the consequences women will be facing and how men will be faring and bawling out as time passes on. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the very first video.
Serious question for the guys. I have this conversation with my female friends, I think I'm not even kidding, once a week. So I'm just curious what the real reasoning is behind it. But most of my girlfriends say that whenever they're out, they never get approached by guys ever. And maybe one girl in the friend group who does get approached, it's not like she's a total standout from the group. But for some reason, a specific girl might just get hit on a lot. I don't know. But not even in a biased way. I think that some of my friends are very, very beautiful. Actually, I'm not just saying that to be nice. So it makes me really curious as to why guys don't go up to them. Is it one, even if you see an attractive girl, you're just hanging out with your friends, you don't really care? 2, you're just simply not attracted to her? 3, maybe you think she's just in a relationship or she's just super standard.
This is why you should never cold approach a woman. Despite what many other of the female dating coaches will tell you, it's total crap. Approach is always this manifestation in your male mind that this woman, because she is so attractive, would benefit you and your life. But you have no idea if she is relationship material, if she is a rancid bitch, if you know what I'm talking about. The only reason you're approaching her is because you find her attractive, and then you're going to turn around and resent her for your entire life for having that power over you. It is purely shallow, and you are already setting up a poor power dynamic within a relationship if you do end up getting in one with this girl. So take it from big sis, meet them out in the wild, through friends, maybe online, but women don't deserve cold approach, not these women.
Wow.
Bitchy looking, or in general, you just don't want to deal with any type of rejection. Is it the guy's point of view, or is it just the girls are putting out this weird vibe, or just guys don't find them attractive? I don't know.
If a woman is over 30 years old and she is not married, she will be called 剩女, 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 which means leftover woman.
And don't pay for my food.
Really? You put the phone out?
Yeah, really? I put my phone out.
This steak is so good. That's cool.
If you invite somebody, don't y'all expect them to pay for your food? You Baby, invited me here.
Don't you expect I don't pay for women if I can't touch them. Y'all look like y'all think because you pretty, I'm supposed to be just cashing my money.
The point of the date is to get to know each other.
We're getting to know each other. I'm gonna eat, pay for your food, I pay for my own.
Huge problem that I've been noticing in the dating world. The good, respectful men, the men with boundaries, will not approach women because they're trying to respect their boundaries. And it is true that biologically speaking, women are far more attuned to subtleties, like body language subtleties, than men. So a lot of times, women will actually be giving off clues and cues that they want to be approached, but it's more of they're trying to give off a vibe or something, and the man has no idea. What ends up happening is that it's the men with no boundaries, or that don't respect boundaries, or the narcissists or the creeps, that end up approaching the woman, and then the women in my life complain that it's only the creeps that approach them, when it's really we women need to be giving off way more intense.
How is it that I look like this today, yet no man wants me to be his girlfriend?
Is this a serious question? Because women just went from saying they rather pick a bear over a man. So why the hell would men approach you or even look in your direction? But not only that, so many women have taught men over the years that all men are predatorial, so the good men of the world gave up. And it's so funny because women will constantly say that men don't listen, but now that men are listening, y'all are wondering where the good guys are at, why they don't approach you anymore, and why men are just simply not interested. And why the hell would they be interested? They don't know if they're going to be the next subject of all men are trash content on social media. They don't know if they're going to be accused of doing something they didn't do. They don't know if they're going to be used for dates. They don't know if they're going to be manipulated and then called a narcissist. And in this particular video, she's also asking why didn't they approach her because she looks the way that she looks. But the bottom line is most women are basic. There's nothing special to them. We all look the freaking same. So yeah, you actually have to come with more than just your looks. You actually need a personality.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, they're getting humbled out here. In 2024, they are getting humbled. There's a comment that a woman left on my video where I talked about the fact that men are relaxing as it all collapses. And this actually came from an African-American woman, forever 90s girl, 88. So I guess that's the year she was born, 1988. So she's in her mid-30s now. And she says, well, I agree with men being under a lot of pressure these days, but most of these comments are sad as hell. A lot of whining and complaining going on. Y'all need to man up and stop crying. Talk to God and ask him for strength to do what he puts y'all on the earth to do. Provide, protect, and lead. Y'all see this? So men are just walking away. And what are they doing? They're using shame, insults, guilt because they need to be right. They acknowledge that men are going through a lot, but they don't care. They want men to get back onto those fields and start producing again, because our sole purpose that we are here to do is to provide for and protect women. Provide for women, protect women, and support society. We have no other purpose in life than to be disposable. This is how the state views men. This is how society views men. This is why it is imperative for men to walk away, to understand that you are basically just fighting for something that does not like you. I talked about this in another video where I mentioned that, if you go back hundreds of years where we had indentured servitude in the US, or SLAVERY, those people would wake up, they'd wake up before the sun came up and they'd go to sleep. They'd wake up and they would get onto the fields by the time the sun came up, and they would leave the fields, when the sun went down. But the thing is that, they're the people that they serve, the masters that they serve, had to provide them with health care, because those people were investments. So you had to provide them with health care. That means that they had to have doctors or people that had medical training to take care of these individuals, because if they get sick and they pass away, that's money right there. That's bread right there. Okay? They had to provide them with food. They may not have been eating the greatest food, but keep in mind, we now live in an era where the organ meats that these people that used to be thrown away and the slaves used to eat, we can't even afford it anymore. Those meats cost crazy amounts of money as a result of hyperinflation. So we cannot even afford to eat the foods that people back under indentured servants ate. Think about how crazy that is. So these people were provided with health care. They were provided with food. They were provided with clothing. They were provided with shelter. Do y'all see this? They still had wives. They still had children. What does the average man have? Not a damn thing. These people had to labor for a specific number of hours between, for example, from sun up to sundown. And then they got to go rest. Men, on the other hand, we just keep going and going and going and going, and we are not appreciated for anything. And if we don't labor, then we have to labor so that we have a roof over our heads, because it's illegal to be homeless. Are we actually free? And you can clearly see that, like I said, the church is just another form of the state. So they're pissed off that men are walking away and not coming back. They're pissed off. They're like, get back over here. I didn't tell you could leave. I didn't tell you could walk away. And guys, the simp economy is crashing right now. A lot of women that went to OnlyFools, they're finding themselves broke. They've destroyed their lives, destroyed their names being on OnlyFools.
Released my workout program yesterday. They take my account for me. Guess what? People are still buying my workout program. And guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what though? Guess what? I'm making more money in a day from my workout program than I am from OnlyFans. God is fucking good. Because I don't want to do OnlyFans. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do OnlyFans.
To cut my girl off because I just moved her into my place and then she's telling me she wants to go 50-50. You were broke. I moved you into my place and you're asking me to go 50-50. I don't tolerate disrespect. I don't pay bills.
Yo, Stuff Guy era started out as a joke, but it evolved into reality. A lot of these men are not playing around. All right, men are upgrading their standards right now. They're sassy as hell. These men are sassy as hell. They are not playing around in 2024. All right, this is an interesting time to be alive. And women have zero recourse other than demanding that the government, using shame, insult, and guilt because they need to be right, sign language, and then turning to the government and demanding that the government punish, penalize men for walking away. But keep in mind, there's a limit. There's an absolute limit. You can never get a man. You can never make a man work harder than he'll work himself. It's truth. And as you can see, men are basically done. All right? Men are done subsidizing the living of women. They're not giving them, so women are not getting that share anymore. Their children are not getting that share anymore. Men are basically only making just enough money to survive and thrive and no more. They're not playing games. They're not out here putting up with bad attitudes anymore. You have foreign women telling men that they don't have to tolerate nonsense. They don't have to tolerate disrespect. They don't have to tolerate being shamed. Okay? And of course, the church is upset. The state is upset because men are walking away.
Have 7 million men ages 25 to 54 not working or looking for work. 7 million. You can't build a civilization, a culture, a nation, an economy on men who are not activated and working and producing. What it means is you have far more consumers than producers. And then you have a whole generation of young men that are going to vote to increase the taxes on men who are working to reallocate wealth, which is stealing. And the result is at some point you run out of other people's money. That's why we now have record national debt. And now credit card debt in America has for the first time reached over $1 trillion. So men are not going to work or working. In addition, young guys are doing with their time and energy. Porn, social media, video games, the beast, the false prophet, and the antichrist. That's what they're doing. Single guys in your 20s, here's what we know. 68% of guys in their 20s today are not dating a woman, not intending to date a woman, have no actual interest in a relationship with a female, and are making no movement toward marriage whatsoever. In the last few years, a lot of young men just moved home with their mother. They have no intention of ever moving out until
study called from the Pew Center Research conducted a study that said 63% of men under age 30 would rather stay home and watch porn than go on a date. Men say they are getting their needs met without having to go on a date. Would men rather stay single than be with a woman?
Men are done. And what do women immediately do? They begin shaming men. They begin shaming them because men are not playing the game anymore. What does the future look like, guys? What's the answer to the question? What are the consequences women will face? 45% of women will be childless and single come 2030. Those are the projections. It can actually be worse. All right, 40%, and that's not even counting the women who will be single mothers. So now we're looking at potentially 70 to 80% of all women between the ages of 25 to 44 years old, that are either single and childless or single moms. All right, and they don't have a man to subsidize their living. Guys, we're gonna see. Society is going to wonder, how did women fall into this extraordinary destitute state? in the coming years as men are thriving despite a harsh economy and a hard reality. And the fact is that, they can try to tax men at 50% and women at 20%, but men are just going to use the tax code and reduce their tax liability as far below as far as they can, as little as they can. And if they start using gender bias, again, there's the Constitution, and men will challenge these things. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard for women. And the more they create an unequal society for men, which is extremely bad right now, the worse it's only going to get as more men walk away. This is how the Roman Empire collapsed. They created a society that was extremely unfair to men, so men walked away. Men walked away. They stopped protecting. They stopped providing. We fell into 1,000 years of darkness after 100 years of treating men like crap. The Roman Empire fell. We fell into 1,000 years of darkness, lost 1,000 years of technological, not 1,000 years, correction, lost tens of thousands of years of technological innovations, tens of thousands of years of technological innovations. And we had to wait 1,000 years before math and science were rediscovered. This is how insane it is. All right. We literally just came out of the dark ages, not that long ago. And all of this happened because women got no-fault divorces and began running off with gladiators, and men were chastised. The social contract was destroyed, and as a result, the state could no longer subsidize the living of women. The emperor was like, single men are worse than all of the criminals, all of the Roman Empire, because they would no longer provide for single mothers and their kids or single women. After 100 years, the most prosperous empire in the world no longer had any money, and it was pillaged by barbarians, torn to shreds, and then people went back to eating squirrel meat and living in caves. Because ultimately, once you start expanding on the rights of women and giving women special privileges and men special punishments, the men walk away. The men stop pushing themselves. The men say, we'll only work as much as you force them to. If you turn them into prisoners, those people are no longer citizens. Those are prisoners. If Western society keeps on pushing and turns men into prisoners, okay, then they're prisoners. You have no men. You have literally nothing, and more, you will have no loyalty. So men who are not loyal to their countries will not protect their countries. Men that don't have love for country or for family will fight for neither. I've already said this. If you want to destroy a country, destroy the men. If you want to destroy the men, use the women to destroy the men. And women are now going to face extraordinary consequences for the state of men in Western society. As you can see, they don't care about us. They don't even like us. What's the response? Yeah, you guys are struggling. Man up and do what you were intended, what God put you there to do, to protect, to provide, protect, and lead. All right? Man up. This is how much they dislike us. They could care less about us. They don't care about, guys, they don't like us. They don't care about us at all. They only see us as disposable utilities. All right? This is why men are walking away. This is why men are going overseas if they want to find love or happiness. But a lot of men are just done. They can't trust ever again. And these women are not even trying to pretend. Many of them are not even trying to pretend. They're like, listen, we don't care. Get back to work. Pay that tax revenue. Start subsidizing single moms. All right? Marry girls who work at McDonald's. All right? You know what you're here for. God put you here to be an ATM. Now fulfill your role. And men are done with that. And women, a lot of women are going to find themselves in extraordinary destitution, as the men are not going to be there to supplement their income anymore. Okay? Subsidize them anymore. And the state cannot do it. And a lot of guys think that women will always be okay, they'll always be bailed out, or the state will eventually just come after men and punish men, and overtax men, imprison men. If men don't give the state what it wants, prisoners are not citizens. If you turn your men into just outright prisoners, and then expect them to provide for a society, that's what they tried with the Roman Empire. Basically, when men walked away, they began using indentured servants for everything in the empire. Those people have no loyalty to the empire. So they're only going to create value that they're forced to create, and that's it. They're not going to innovate. They're not going to go out and explore and gather resources. They're not going to expand society. They're not going to protect society. They're treated like property. So they have no dog in the fight. Oh, if you don't do as we say, then then it's over for you. Okay, we'll do exactly as you say. Well, you need to, guys, for men to grow society, they have to be free, or at least believe that they're free. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, consider subscribing to our newsletter if you want some freedom. Subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. Guys, what do you think regarding all of this? Broke girls are crying because they can't afford food or rent. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll talk about it there. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA Men walking away. And cheers.